Alright dude, what's up? So your question is, if I've got a lead in G mixolydian, how do I apply a chord progression behind it? And what you got to know when you're playing in G mixolydian is what notes you're using, and then you can form chords based on those notes so that there's no big harmonic clash between what you're playing and what's being played behind you. So in G mixolydian, your notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So it's all the same notes as C major, but we start on G. And so if you take all of those notes and you harmonize them all individually into chords by using 1, 3, 5, you come up with all the same chords which are in C major, but starting at G, that would be a G7, an A minor, a B minor, a B half diminished, a C major, a D minor, an E minor, an F major, and then your G dominant. So you've got to lead and you've got to pick the chords. The thing that you should think about is, well, how do I organize those chords so that they fit well over the melody? And the way to do that is, I'm going to start here on my G, and I've got this like G mixolydian arpeggio. And that's kind of like the sound of your G mixolydian lead to some extent, otherwise you probably wouldn't have called it G mixolydian. So say you've got this like, that whole thing right there, that's all G mixolydian. But as soon as you go, you find another note that's in G mixolydian but isn't in the arpeggio. Like say you find that E note right there. Say we start incorporating that E, right? So we're starting out on G mixolydian, we go. There we kind of fell back to that E. When we fall back on that E, we might want to change the chord from a G7. We might want to go to a C major because we have that E, and the E rests in the C chord. So we've got our. So maybe over the note that's the E, we want to switch over to a C chord because the C has that note in it, and the G mixolydian arpeggio doesn't have it. So you could think you could have your chords over that little lead lipping. Maybe you go somewhere else. Maybe you go to the 2. Maybe you go to like. If your chord progression has that sound. So basically, any progression will work if it's got the chords of G mixolydian or C major, and you want to choose the chords based on where your implied harmony kind of changes from your G7 to maybe a different tonality. Now that might take a little while. You have your lead lick and you try to put chords to it, and your ear is still developing, so you're not sure where the change is, when to switch chords, which one's going to sound the best. But that's kind of where you start to experiment, and you learn what works and what doesn't through experimentation, and also by learning songs that kind of do that. And as you get better and better at it, it becomes kind of easy, and you do it just by feel. So I kind of hope that answers your question. If there's anything else you want me to add to it, I'd be happy to do that. And keep jamming, man. Take care.